Jovan Buha! Buha!
Yo, I'm Jovan Buha, Lakers beat writer for The Athletic, and we have some news to react to. The Lakers officially signed Jordan Goodwin, converting him from a two-way player to a standard contract less than 12 hours after he completed his two-way eligibility. To make room for Jordan Goodwin, the Lakers waived Cam Reddish as expected, and this was the right move by the Lakers. I talked about this several times over the past couple of weeks, that with Goodwin nearing his two-way eligibility limit, that it was going to be imperative for them to convert him ASAP, that he had emerged as the ninth man over the past month and a half, and that potentially saving a little bit of money here down the stretch and having him sit out games and not be a part of the rotation, fall out of rhythm, and LA just be a bit short-handed while still managing several injuries to several key rotation players, that was not a prudent decision for a group that is trying to battle for home court advantage in the Western Conference and earn the best seed possible. As for Goodwin's contract, because the Lakers are a first apron team and have certain restrictions as to the exceptions they can use and the options to converting him, they did sign him to a 2-year deal, which includes the rest of this season. So he'll be signed to the prorated vet minimum contract for the rest of this season. And then there's a team option for a vet minimum contract for next season, which I would assume the Lakers are going to pick up. I think Jordan Goodwin on a vet minimum contract is a relative bargain, frankly. Ideally, the Lakers could have signed him to a 3 or 4-year deal, but because of the limitations, again, with the first apron and just their available exceptions, they cannot do that. I think they technically could have used part of the taxpayer MLE, but that would have affected their ability to use that this summer. And I think that there's still some things that they're trying to figure out with the rest of the roster. And you got a guy like Jackson Hayes who potentially could be in the mix for that type of deal. With all that, it's not ideal that Goodwin is only under contract for another year, but based on the Lakers' financial constraints with the cap, with the first apron, this was the best that they could do. And so I'm going to break this down further with a series of questions. So the first question is, why did LA do this? And LA did this because Jordan Goodwin had reached his two-way eligibility limit when he signed his two-way contract with the Lakers right around the trade deadline. He was only eligible to play in 19 games. He has now played in 19 games. And as I've mentioned, he has become the Lakers' ninth man. And at times, he stepped into a starting role, stepped into a closing role. He has been a critical piece of the Lakers' second half of the season turnaround. And as for Goodwin's fit, he's just a banshee. That's JJ's term of endearment for the Lakers' defensive-minded energy guys coming off the bench. Guys like DFS and Vando and Gabe Vincent. Jordan Goodwin is in line with that identity. He is in line with that type of player. And I think that there are 5 areas of his game that really stand out to me in terms of what he brings to this group. First is defense. I think he is a multi-positional backcourt defender and can even guard up a little bit at about 6'4", 6'5". He can take on some small forwards, and that versatility and switchability defensively is important for a group that needs that. Then the second thing is effort. He just plays with a baseline level of effort. He is diving on the ground for loose balls. He is cutting. He is moving. He is setting screens. He is crashing the offensive glass. He is putting his body on the line. And again, that fits what JJ wants with the bench guys. The offensive rebounding, I just alluded to it, but he has had an offensive rebound in 18 of 19 games for the Lakers and had several games with multiple offensive rebounds, including against Indiana. He had a couple of big ones. So he almost functions, I've compared him to a Bruce Brown. I don't think he quite has the offensive chops or the athleticism of a Bruce Brown, but in terms of his ability to almost function as a big man offensively and then be a stout, sturdy perimeter defender and having some shooting limitations. Like I think there are some similarities there between him and Bruce Brown. We'll say, I don't want to say a poor man's Bruce Brown, maybe a middle class Bruce Brown. Fourth thing that Goodwin brings is corner 3-point shooting. He is shooting 52% on corner threes. Overall, as a Laker, career high 41%. It is a relatively low volume. He's only taken 21 corner threes, and he's shooting just 32% on above the break threes. So those are the threes like pick and pop or relocating. He's not as lethal above the break, but in the corners, when the Lakers station him there, 52% is a good percentage. Only 21 attempts, so small sample size, but I think that's going to be a way that teams try to test him when he's out there during the playoffs. And then the final thing that he brings that I think is important is his short roll playmaking. You saw it in the Indiana game. You've seen it in other games. He will go screen for Luka, screen for Austin, often because teams are hiding their worst defenders on Goodwin. So he brings that player into the fray, and then they either switch on to Luka, switch on to Austin, switch on to LeBron, and that's a mismatch, or they double or they blitz, and that allows Goodwin to roll, get that short roll pass, and then make a play out of it. So he can attack downhill, then make a kick out pass. He can try to get to the rim. He could also just swing the ball to an open weak side player. So I think his ability to operate like that, and again, that reminds me of Bruce Brown in a way that Bruce Brown operated earlier in his career in Detroit and in Brooklyn. Like he can kind of be that 4 or 5 offensively with the rebounding, with the short roll playmaking, and then defensively guard multiple positions. So now that's what Goodwin brings. My second question is, why did the Lakers do this now? And the Lakers did this now because they could not afford to have him sit games and potentially fall out of rhythm, or the Lakers not get those reps with playoff caliber lineups and the rotation. And this is a group that is trying to win a championship. This is a group that is trying to go on a deep playoff run. And I believe that all sides point to this, that Jordan Goodwin is going to be in the playoff rotation. And so potentially saving a little bit of money and having that guy sit on the bench or go back to LA and just sit there for a couple of weeks, like that was always nonsensical. So the Lakers made the shrewd decision to convert him immediately. And again, he deserves it. He has earned this. And I think that was the right call by the Lakers. Now, what does this mean moving forward? I think that this means Jordan Goodwin is going to be in the playoff rotation. I think he is going to be more so in that 9th, 10th man conversation, probably between him and Dalton. But JJ, multiple times when asked about the rotation, has often referenced defense as the thing determining who's playing and who's not. And he was just asked about this before the Indiana game, and he doubled down and said defense again. And that was loosely in relation to Dalton versus Goodwin. So I think Goodwin is the 9th man. I think there's a clear top 8. I think Goodwin has an edge right now over Dalton and Connect. We'll see how the rest of the regular season plays out. Lakers still have 10 games as of this recording. But for now, I think Jordan Goodwin is the 9th man, and he's a guy who we could see for 8 to 12 minutes in the playoffs, depending on how deep. And he could be on the outside looking in. The Lakers could just go with 8 guys. But either way, having him as that 9th man, I think there, as I talked about last night on my Lakers-Pacers post-game reaction, there is a gap between Goodwin and the rest of the Lakers perimeter guys. Shake Milton, there's a gap there. Obviously, they just waived Cam Reddish. Bronny has been playing much better, but he's still unproven at the NBA level. And then even a guy like Dalton brings a certain level of offense and shooting and gravity, but defensively is a minus. And for what the Lakers are looking for from that position, they need a guy like a Jordan Goodwin. And sometimes we overthink these things, and I don't want to overthink this. They would not convert him if they were not planning on playing him, or at least having that option of playing him in the playoffs, which makes sense. And then final question is, what's next for LA with the roster? And so LA can still sign either one of their 2 remaining two-way players in Trey Jemison or Christian Koloko. Both players have 7 games remaining of two-way eligibility. Koloko was active last night in Indiana, but did not play. And so the Lakers have 10 games remaining in the regular season. And with each guy having 7, I think the smart move would be to stagger them and make sure that at least one is available for each remaining game. And then at the end of the regular season, the Lakers have the option to convert either one of them. Now, one note here is that Trey Jemison is technically under contract for a two-way for next season for the Lakers. So that is something to factor in when considering converting him. Of if they don't convert him, they wouldn't have him eligible for the playoffs, but they would still have him as a two-way option for next season. Conversely, Koloko is on a one-year deal, so if the Lakers do not convert him, he will just be a free agent this summer. That they could sign him to another two-way deal, but those are a couple of things at play here, where Jemison is technically under contract already for next season as a two-way guy, whereas Koloko technically has some freedom here. I still think the proper decision would be converting at least one of the two. I have trended more toward the Koloko side, but regardless, I think either one would potentially help the Lakers more in a playoff setting than an Alex Len. And I think the Lakers should continue to evaluate these two down the stretch here. But regardless of which way they lean, I think that player would be more helpful and more useful in a playoff run than Alex Len. This is the way that this has been trending for a few weeks now, but the Lakers could have gotten cute with it. They could have let Jordan Goodwin sit there and save a little bit of money, but instead they decided to convert him immediately as soon as possible, literally the next day. And that was the right call, and that was a smart decision. And I think it's a sign that the Lakers really are investing in this group, believing in this group, and trying to maximize their window this season. But that'll do it for today's reaction show. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. For those watching on YouTube, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on channel notifications, and like and comment on this video. For those listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice, please be sure to follow, download, and leave a 5-star review. I'll be back tonight after Lakers Bulls. I will talk to you then.